ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our great Deputy Surgeon General, Dr. Tarif Bader, who is also, I am so proud to call him a friend of mine. I have known about you for years and years, but I had the privilege of seeing you a couple of days ago. These are the men and women in the IDF that actually make the world safe. That's why we're here. The story of hearing Benjamin Anthony to take his brother to the front line of army and deliver his brother. I mean, these are chilling stories. And the fact that, you know, we hear about Hezbollah trying to kill us, and they're getting closer and closer to our line and crossing border to kill our children. And yet, despite all of this, his team and his group, they're ready to go at a given time, 82 hours, 60 hours, 2 days, to save lives of other people that a day before they were sending missiles. We're so proud to have you here. I want to welcome you to our town and home. And next time you complain about your Starbucks coffee, that it's not too hot or too cold or doesn't taste good, remember this story, because these guys are dealing with life and death every day. And I thought, as a surgeon, I deal with a lot of hectic stuff, but I cannot match what you do every day, and I respect you. I also want to congratulate you for having such a great family. The fact that your beautiful wife has been with you for the last 2 weeks, beautiful 3 children that you have, and I consider you a friend. And also I learned that this man is also a great, great backgammon player. And it's very impressive. Have a seat, please.
Thank you.
So I don't know if we have...
I thought it's a secret.
Well, it's okay, as long as you're 3-0 ahead. But it's not over yet. We still have a chance.
So you have to arrange a visit next time.
We're going to make it happen. So we're going to have a discussion about this. I'm going to highlight some of the things that you do and your team do, which is a noble one. And, you know, it's very interesting that a lot of times we hear about the Syrian crisis, we hear about like Haiti, but who knew, at least I've been involved in the Israeli politics for years, but I'm still a young guy. The fact that since 1956, you and your team and IDF soldiers have been involved in many different countries. Can you imagine that we've gone to save lives from Greece, we've gone to Russia, we have gone to Cambodia. I mean, for crying out loud, look at this, like we've gone to so many countries, and yet we still have so many people that are against us, and the media always put so much pressure on Israel, and they show like some of the negativity of what the Israeli soldiers, they have done, which is unfortunate. You mentioned about Haiti, and at a given point, any earthquake, typhoon in Philippines, hundreds of thousands of lives can go upside down, and children are being buried. And yet Israel is there to help. And the goal of your team has always been to reach out and to help, no matter what color, no matter what religion, no matter who they are. If they have a beating heart, you're there to help. Am I right?
Absolutely.
You know, as a doctor, we stand and we have a Hippocratic oath to take care of your patients. And I'm very proud to be a physician, but you do a different job. Even though you're a doctor, you're dealing in a battle zone. We don't even have a concept of what it's like to wake up in the morning. My schedule every day is totally different than what you do. So tell us who you are. What kind of oath? What is this whole organization? How did you come to this point? And why do you do what you do every day? That's the first question that I had as I was preparing for this.
You have to look all at this oath, and I also have the Hippocratic oath as a physician. But we also have another oath, which is the oath of the medical corps. And the difference that this oath is committed by all the medical personnel in the medical corps. Not only the physicians, but the physicians, the medics, the nurses, or whatever. And what's unique in this oath, as it's written here, to extend the helping hand for the sick and the injuries. Point. There is nothing mentioned in this oath, whether they are Israelis, whether they are citizens, whether they are soldiers, and whether else. So actually, this is what we are teaching our teams. I was the commander of the commander's branch in the military, in the military academy in Israel. And this is what I taught the soldiers there, the medical team there, that you have to extend the helping hand not only for the soldiers, not only for the citizens, but to extend the helping hand, as you mentioned, for everybody whose heart is beating.
You know, it's very impressive, you know, when I hear what you say, and you say it with like such strength. It's almost like this oath has become as part of your blood. Those cells that are running in your blood, is like you don't even realize that this guy who a day before was about to kill you, you're still going to help him, which is an incredible thing. We just heard from Dan how these some of these terrorists are hiding missiles and guns in their house, and they put the civilians ahead. And when they are injured, they come and you help them. And that's a really, really noble job. I don't know if a lot of us can really suppress those feelings and say, you know what, I'm going to help. And that's a real physician, and you should be proud of what you do every day. Now, we heard about this Syrian crisis, obviously. And according to UN, there's about 700,000 people that have been affected by this civil war. Over 500,000 people have actually died, which is like, think about this. 500,000 people, children, boys and girls have died as a result of this. And something happened on February 11, 2013.
Yeah.
I understand about 7 civilians actually crossed and the phone call came to you. Explain exactly what happens. You have 2 days to prepare. You know, in our hospital, if we have some sort of a flood or if we have some sort of like a 9/11 event or crisis, we sort of have like a preparation. We know that the emergency room becomes open. We get rid of all the like patients that are not meant to be. So we have, as a physician in any hospital in New York, if there's a nuclear event, we're all prepared to some extent. We still don't understand it, to prepare ourselves. What is it like for you to prepare and start the hospital? Maybe we can show some of the diagrams of what. I always had the picture. Of course, I always watch Fox News. So I always had a picture of like having a bunch of tents that you go in with a bunch of stretchers, and whoever comes, you would basically control some bleeding, you would do Band-Aid. Explain to us exactly what this hospital that you make, what it looks like, the number of people, the extent of this.
First of all, we are living in a very amazing situation that we are all the time on what we call on alert mentality. My dear wife knows that whenever the phone is calling for an earthquake or for disaster or for a mission, a special mission, she knows that she has to prepare, to help me prepare, not alone. She has to help me prepare my luggage for at least 2 weeks. So actually we are well prepared for that. Not only the physicians and the medical personnel who are serving in the military, but also the ones who are working in the hospitals, and they know that they are supposed to be as reservists. That means that they are on call all the time, that whenever there is a need for them, we are ready to go. And this is also the same situation with the civilian hospitals. Our civilian hospitals are well prepared to switch on from a working method of Saturday morning. Within a couple of hours, they can switch it with the full-blown team to work whenever there is a mass casualty event. This February the 16th, 2013, was Saturday morning when 7 Syrians came to the border. And as I mentioned before, they decided not to die on the field, on the land of Syria. And they found there our soldiers.
Your wife is kind of smiling, but I see that she's obviously sad. You remember that moment when the phone call came in, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And actually, since it was an unordinary situation that Syrians are treated by our teams, they asked my permission for further treatment. And I, as a physician, as a commander, as the one who had this oath, and as a one who taught them this oath, I had no doubt that they had to be transferred to the nearest hospital. But since it was unusual, I called my commander, which was mentioned before here, Yair Golan, who was the commander of the Northern Command, and tell him the story. He asked me only one question: what if not? What will happen to these Syrians if we are not transferring them to the hospital? I told him for sure at least one of them will die, the one who was suffering from a very severe injury. He had quickly the answer, I think the right answer. Go ahead, go with them to the hospital, save their lives, and that's it.
You get the chills, right? You can feel it, because Israel is always, and the Jewish nation is always about saving lives. One life. You save one life, and you save the entire village. So this is what Israel stands for. His command, you're very humble, I have to tell you. You make it sound like it's basically like you made a phone call, he said go, but that's not the case. You have the phone call that comes in, and I studied this because I never show up on the stage without knowing my facts. So look at what's on the slide, and you have about 95 tons of humanitarian and medical supplies that has to go in the plane. You have helicopters that has to go. You have about 120 plus doctors, and you have nurses, and you staff, management. Putting an organization, putting a meeting like this, you saw how the computers were falling apart, and it's perfect. But to put such a thing together, where you're going to have ICU, how can you have an ICU in a mobile hospital? Tell us a little bit about this, because I'm more curious as to how you have this pediatrics ICU and the scope of this. This is tremendous. Look at what they have here. Go back to this slide, 126 members. So it's not him. It's not like a bunch of soldiers. They have to call all the doctors. They got to get the nurses. They got to have images and the labs and on and on.
One of the amazing things that we are doing is building a field hospital that we can build it within 6 hours, 8 hours. All the tents that you saw in Nepal and Haiti, we used a soccer yard. It was empty. Nothing was there. And we built our tents with the equipment, with the staff. And at that 6 or 8 hours, I think it's one of the crucial times of building a hospital. Since at that time, there are no commanders, there are no physicians, there are no nurses. All of them are workers. All of them are working side by side in order to be ready as soon as possible for the hospital. In Haiti, at 2 o'clock in the morning, we get the staff, we get the equipment. We worked from 2 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock in the morning, 8 hours. And within 8 hours, this field hospital that
It's impressive.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And again, it's not a man-one show. Absolutely not.
I would love to work in this hospital. And, I'm going to try to see if I can get a job with you.
You are more than welcome.
Hospital.
You are more than welcome.
I would love to do the training. You know what? I want to go into this hospital because now we're looking from outside, and certainly it's quite impressive to see all these rooms and tents and everything. But let's go into one of these rooms. And I know that your passion is pediatrician, and but I just a little background about me, which is nothing compared to what Dr. Bader has done. I was a trauma surgeon at the worst place in the Bronx, which was a Jacobi Hospital. This is before Giuliani actually was in charge, and we used to see these gunshot wounds and stab wounds. It happens that it helped me to become a much better surgeon and become a much tougher one. But I have never seen anything like this, and I salute you. So tell us a little bit about what's going on with some of these pediatrics ICUs, some of these trauma booths. And by the way, these are not Jews. These are Haiti, these are Syrians, these are Muslims, Christians, Jews, whatever it is, no matter what color.
Human beings.
They are human beings. That's the point. Tell us what's going on in these rooms. What are you equipped to do here?
Yeah.
Can you do an operation?
These examples, this equipment, actually it's the intensive care unit. Intensive care unit. We have all the ability to have surgeries, abdominal surgeries, orthopedic surgeries, urologic surgeries, the uncomplicated ones.
I'm in.
The uncomplicated
I'll
ones.
bring my robot with me next time. Go ahead.
And in some places, like for example in Haiti, the only incubator for neonates at the whole country was the one in the Israeli field hospital. That's the reason that when we completed our mission in Haiti, and we have a neonate still hospitalized in our hospital, in order to be sure that there is a continuity of care after we go off from there, we donated this incubator for a local hospital in order to be sure that this hospital will continue treating the neonate after we finish our mission. And what you see here are physicians, the best physicians of the country. In our last intensive care unit in Nepal, we had 3 head of departments of intensive care units from 3 different hospitals in Israel, who all of them volunteered to be part of our mission. And they were proud to be part of this mission. And they worked side by side in this amazing intensive care unit that we have here. And again, remember that it's in a tent. It's not in a building. It's not the electricity. It's a generator. It's a tent. And these are our staff. This is our work. And this is.
So it's actually quite interesting, because if you look at what goes on in some of these tents, and when they bring somebody who has had gunshot wound or stab wound or whatever goes on, a lot of times there's intra-abdominal bleeding. And you lose your patients because you can't control the bleeding. And what Israel has done is actually quite interesting. We're going to come back to that slide. Let's go to this, what we call this freeze-dry plasma. So just so you understand what's going on, a lot of times if we have some bleeding in the operating room, besides transfusion, you can also give some fresh frozen plasma, which is different than what you have over here. Tell us a little bit about what you do with this and how it was able to save lives by controlling bleeding, so you get enough time to ship them to the right hospital.
Before I talk a little bit about the FDP, the fresh-dried plasma, I would like to talk a little bit about this slide. I'm very proud of what we are doing. And each time I see this slide, I'm getting even more proud of our work. This slide means that the state of Israel decided that there are no 2 different types of equipment, of staff, one for the Syrians, one for the others. It's the same equipment, the same personnel, the same work, the same ambulances that are saving our soldiers, are saving the lives of the others. 4 years ago, we decided to buy this product, which is a German product. We bought it not for the Syrians. We bought it for our soldiers. We learned a little bit about that, and we learned that the Germans are using this product inside their hospitals. We decided to buy this, and we were the first in the world to use this product per hospital. That means at the point of injury. The first in the world. We bought it for our soldiers, but it's amazing. A German product, an Israeli team, and the first to get this product was a Palestinian girl hit by a road accident in Judah and Samaria. Isn't it amazing?
It's unbelievable. And there's no question that when it comes to saving lives, not only you, but the state of Israel does not discriminate. And we really hear that loud and clear, and you should be congratulated. One of the slides is a little graphic, and if you don't want to, it's okay to look at it. But I want to hear the story of this 13-year-old child that you saw that came and had like a real, let's go back a little bit to that child that got...
I'm sorry for the photos.
It got amputated and had lost limbs and arms. We can change it in a minute, but you were able to save him. Tell us about that. That story resonated with you and stayed with you for a long time.
I'm a pediatrician, and I'm a father of 3 children. And treating children, especially who were injured during the war, it's one of the worst things for physicians. This is what I believe, and this is the sensation of the teams that I'm working with. We cannot stand aside with our sensations when we are talking about saving lives of children. This 13-year-old child, regardless of the injury, was very lucky. He was lucky because he had the ability to reach the border within less than 1 hour after the injury. He lost a lot of blood, but he was saved by our brave teams. He got this FDP, the fresh dried plasma. He was treated by our team, and he was transferred immediately to the nearest hospital. And as you saw, his life was saved, and he was supposed to go back to Syria. But sending this child to Syria with amputation of both legs, with amputation of one hand, with a fracture of the other hand, actually is saying that this guy will die. Mm-hmm. That's the reason that this child was hospitalized for more than 3 months at our hospital. And we took care for him, not only to save his life, but we have this prosthesis with him. And we taught him how to walk again. And we sent him back to Syria with these 2 amputations.
It's an incredible story.
Amazing.
And I know that that felt very special for you. So a few years ago, I don't know if you guys know this or not, I got invited to go to Israel to do some robotic surgery. And while we were at the hospital, I was at Rambam, we went to Tel HaShomer, we did this robotic, and I'm very happy that Israel now has over 8 robots and is one of the front line in technology and this field. Happens to be rounding with some of the doctors in the hospital, and I see that in the same room, I've never seen this in my life, I see in the same exact room an Israeli patient that's exactly next to a Palestinian or maybe like a Syrian. And I asked this question, and I said, how do they get along? And how are they like in the same room? They just, and the answer was that life is a life is a life, and for Israel, it doesn't matter what it is, we're there to save life. And this is something, it's true. While this is happening, let's go to the next slide. It's amazing that, we heard from Dan and Hezbollah and what they're doing. So while you're looking after these guys and you're operating 24/7 hours, there's no electricity, right? These guys are working in a tent. There's no electricity. They have these flashlights. I can't even imagine what it's like to operate with a flashlight. So that's one of the reasons why I want to come and learn a little bit from you guys. So while this is happening, go to the next slide and see what the enemy is doing. So they're busy, go to the next one. They're busy actually working. And this one is what I call a big dilemma. And maybe, Benjamin, maybe you can even make a comment about this later on. But how do you put your emotion aside? On the right side, you're out there putting the hospital, saving lives. And on the other side, they're still sending missiles.
Absolutely.
While this is happening, the enemy is sending missiles. How do you not give up and say, you know what, I'm done with this. We're out of here. Let's save ourselves.
First of all, it's amazing that whenever you put your stethoscope above your shoulders, and it doesn't matter if this stethoscope is a real one or a virtual one, we think a little bit different. Whenever we put this stethoscope, we are thinking of one thing, saving lives. And this is the main issue of our continuous treatment of not only the Syrians, the Haitian, and others. This is one of the dilemmas that I talked about. It's terrible that at the same base where we have our field hospital, at the same base, while we were saving lives of the Syrians, the same base was attacked by rockets from the Syrian side. They knew that we are there. They knew that in this base located our field hospital. They knew that we are saving the Syrian lives. And despite that, this base was attacked. And I think I do not have an explanation for that, but except one, that we want to save lives.
Well, you've gone way beyond the line of duty to save people's lives. And, you know, what really touched me about this whole thing, and it brought a lot of emotions to me when I saw this next slide. And this really, I'm preparing for this, and it brought emotions, and tears was coming down. The fact that you see a woman, doesn't matter, she's an Arab, but she has the same, I promise you, when we operate on these people, they have the same artery, they have the same vein, they have the same blood going through their system. And this is the most powerful slide, my friend, of everything that has happened today. The fact that you saved her life, and the fact that she's going back home, and she's so grateful of what you've done. They can say what they want to say, but Israel will stand strong. Israel will continue to save lives, and we're going to change their mind and their power of thinking one life at a time. So I want to congratulate you for everything you do every day to keep us safe, to keep those people safe, and I hope you stand strong. Benjamin, for starting this whole foundation and organization, I salute you, and everybody else who's part of the, sorry? Of course, we're not done yet, and everything else that goes on. And I want you to know that, you know, I have two kids, Jasmine and Alex, that are here. The reason why I asked you to come here tonight is because you don't see what goes on. A lot of media in America may not show you what's really happening in the world. And when you ask me why one candidate is better than the other one and why the state of Israel has to stay strong, Jasmine and Alex, listen to what goes on over here. These guys, they work hard so you can go to school. These guys, they work hard so you can have everything you need. Thank you very much for doing this. I have a friend.
It's my pleasure.
And Rosita, I know it's very difficult to bring New Yorkers in under one roof. Thank you for all the hard work that you do. For everyone else that has been involved with this, is there any take-home message or anything that you want America to hear and to know?
First of all, what's written here, that medicine is a bridge between nations. I think it's amazing, this thing. The other thing, I think we are not doing this saving lives for the Syrians in order to change their minds. But I think probably their minds will be changed. I have talked to one of the Syrians that we saved their life. And I asked him about what he feels about the fact that he was treated and his life was saved by us. He told me that he was very grateful for what we did for him. And he told me later that if he had the possibility to raise the Israeli flag on top of his house in Syria, he would do that.